What's going on, everyone? I am once again asking you to pay attention to Palladium. So without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, y'all. So, as y'all know, I don't actually have any palladium. I have platinum, I have silver, and I have gold. And there's multiple reasons for that. But today I want to talk about palladium. Okay? So I'm just going to showcase y'all some of my silver and platinum and gold and stuff like that while I talk about the palladium. So, what happened with palladium recently? Well, we saw it dip below platinum for the second time in the recent future. Okay? We saw it do it, and we saw it do it for more than just a moment. More than just a very brief moment. Now, it didn't really close below platinum, but it almost did. It was interesting. It closed about within a couple bucks or something like that. So I think we're getting into interesting territory with palladium, and I really think we're going to see some changes happen here soon. So what do I mean by that? Well, I think that, and I've talked about it in previous videos, and I've talked about it a lot on my channel, that platinum will actually hold above palladium at some point. It will be worth more, and it will hold there, and it will just prove itself as a precious metal. Now, what's going to happen when that happens? Well, I think platinum really takes off once it's able to hold above palladium for long enough for investors to say, this is it, right? I think that's what it's going to take for platinum to really take off, or one of the things that it's going to take is for it to hold above palladium for long enough for it to be like, okay, things have changed, we need to change. So what's going on with palladium? Well, a lot of people are really kind of losing their shirt on that metal. They bought it way back at its all-time high, and now it's like a third the price. So what does that mean? That means investment grade palladium is kind of hard to come by. It's not very easy to come by. It's not very easy to find on the market, available for a decent price, right? Most people want to gouge the price a little bit because they're upset with what they lost or whatever. So you're going to have to wait a little while before you can get some investment grade palladium. Now, I will say in the recent years, we have seen new investment grade palladium come to market. We've seen Argor Heraeus decide to get in the game and start making 1 ounce and 1 gram bars. Perhaps they will even make different size bars depending on the investor, so that anybody with any budget can really buy. Now, y'all know me, I don't really like the 1 gram bars, and the 1 ounce bar is way too big to really buy in palladium at once right now, I think. Now, maybe I'll buy a 1 ounce palladium bar once the price goes below platinum, and then it starts to just continue going down. And that's another thing. We got to figure out the floor for palladium before we really start investing in that metal once it's down at its bottom, right? I don't think it's a worthless metal. I don't think it will ever be a worthless metal. I think it'll always have value. But it's got a bottom just like platinum has a bottom. And we know platinum's bottom to be, generally speaking, somewhere around the 850 to 900 range. Now, it should be higher than that, but it's not, clearly. But we know platinum's bottom to be around the 850 to 900 range. We haven't really seen below those prices except on the day that everything went crazy back in 2020. So that was kind of like a blip. That was not a realistic sort of thing. That was a major event thing. So we don't really know what the bottom is for palladium. Now you can look at the charts and say, oh, it's like 250, but I don't really know about that because it's been quite a while since it's been that price. And so we don't know what the bottom is. We know what the top is. We know what the all-time high is. And we know what the all-time high for platinum is. And it hasn't been at its all-time high in a very long time. So when deciding on whether or not to buy palladium, at this point, I'd say hold off. I'd say wait and see. I'd say just give it a minute, because realistically, I think we're going to see some major changes. Like I said before, the last time platinum went above palladium, it did it for just almost like a second, right? And everyone was talking about it. This time, it was a little bit longer. Next time, it'll be a little bit longer, and so on and so forth. So you got to pay attention to that. You got to keep an eye out for that, because again, when that happens for longer periods, that's when you're really going to start to see some movement. Now, I plan on picking up some palladium when the price is below platinum, and I have told y'all in the past that my limit for platinum is like 1,500. So if platinum goes above 1,500, I would really have to take a step back and look at what everything else is doing, right? I might pick up palladium depending on where it's at. I might pick up gold. I might pick up silver. But it would really depend on what the rest of the market's looking like. Regardless, it's very interesting stuff, and I wanted to share it with y'all, and I'd love to hear y'all's opinions, so let me know those down below. But yeah, y'all, palladium is getting real interesting to see. I mean, obviously, we saw them cross over one another, and now we're seeing palladium go back up and continue to do the same thing that it did before. I mean, it's almost like you can write it before it even happens, right? You already know what's going to happen. But what we don't know is going to happen is when palladium's able to hold under platinum. We don't know what's going to happen there. We only have guesses and speculation, but I just wanted to share mine with y'all today so that y'all can think about it a little bit more and decide for yourselves what you think is the best approach. But I'd love to hear y'all's thoughts and opinions, where you think the price of the metal is going to go. Do you think it's going to go back up? I've heard a lot of people talk about how the automotive industry did not switch from palladium, and this is just a great time to buy palladium because it's going back up to its all-time high. Not so sure I believe that, but I guess anything is possible. So let me know if that's something you believe down below. And with all that being said, until next time, we'll see y'all.